Hey, Michael Matt here. You tired of those annoying ads cluttering up our YouTube videos? We are too. Start watching our show at the totally ads-free remnant-tv.com. Is resist. What we need to do is send a message to Cardinal Burke and to all the other cardinals and bishops that we are going to resist this full on. We're not doing this again, and we need you, Your Eminence, Your Excellency, to lead a charge against them. They have been after us, these wayward bishops, these heretic bishops, these immoral psycho bishops, and their pope have been after us for a long time. Your own virtues programs in the schools, right, kind of proves that. You're saying, be very careful of us. Be very careful of our priests. We may come after your kids. Well, imagine what that's like for a father of a family. That's what your church might do? You might just diddle my kids? But I'm supposed to obey you on some level? When you come out and crush the Latin Mass? No. We're done. And we're not worried anymore. Because in the eyes of God, this is what we need to do. We simply need to keep the faith. So friends, this is not at all a time to back down. We have such clarity. Every week I come out here and show you another bishop, in this case a cardinal, who's saying, yes, something's really wrong. Don't go along with this. These people need to be thrown out of the church. They're causing a destruction, a schism in the church. Stay away from them, right? So we have that clarity, which is so important as we now move forward. What are we going to do? Now, let me give you an example. I'll close on a very positive note that I hope will just encourage you all to just stand up, get ticked off, stand up and fight back. Never, ever surrender. Send the message out. You will never back down. Remember that little church in Versailles in France? We told you about it last Christmas. Maybe Walter can put a little bit up to remind you on the screen from last Christmas in Versailles. They're really digging in, friends. You got to pray for them. I mean, they're over there right now. They're over there in front of that locked church every single day, every single Sunday, even Christmas Eve. There's the video you'll see up on your screen now. What they did is they brought some journalists in last week to try to raise awareness of this just absolutely preposterous, insane persecution of French traditional Catholics that's going on right now. But, says critics of this show, resistance is futile. They should have just gone underground. They should have gone and found a little independent chapel someplace. Why are they fighting back? Right? Well, wrong, first of all. Absolutely wrong. Because this week, almost 3 years, standing outside hearing Mass in the street, the Bishop of Versailles, Monsignor Luc Crépé, incredibly, suddenly just agreed to approve the traditional Latin Mass every Sunday morning at 11:30. They refused to back down. Finally, the bishop gave in, and you're looking at 250, in my opinion, we're looking at 250 freedom fighters attending the traditional Latin Mass inside their own church. Why? Because resistance is not futile, friends. And my friend, old friend in Versailles, his name is Philippe, he sent me a message yesterday that he wanted me to share with you. Philippe, in reference to this story, he writes, don't give up the fight. Go back to the Mass rocks. Set up altars in front of locked churches and tell everyone about it so the bishop can see the suffering of the people being deprived of this treasure. Never give up. For the glory of Christ our King, never give up. And remember, Philippe and his crew there, these 250 Catholics, the challenge that they have before them is incredible. It's worse. It's worse than anything we got here in the States. Because the Catholic faith, is dying in France. I'll give you some statistical evidence of what's happening to poor France. Only 15% of French citizens say that they are practicing Catholics anymore. 15%. Only 4.5% of French attend Mass each week. 1.8% practice the faith every day. Basically, the faith in France is dead, friends. 1.8% of Catholics, this is the eldest daughter of the church, 1.8 practice their faith. I think that means that 98% of Catholics in France have apostatized. Well played, Vatican II. Seriously. But here's the thing, friends. Here's where it gets so encouraging, as bad as it gets. The Bishop of Versailles today looks out over a diocese that in many ways is dying, and he sees 7,000 Catholics in his little diocese faithfully attending a Latin Mass, many of them every day, but certainly every Sunday, every holy day. And this doesn't even include the 3,000 in the Society of St. Pius X chapel in Versailles. One diocesan church, Notre-Dame des Ames, has 5 masses every Sunday in Versailles. 2,000 people attend those Latin Masses. The Fraternity of St. Peter, their parish in Versailh, Lady of the Immaculate Conception, 4 masses, 2,000 parishioners. In Port-Marly, the Institute of Christ the King, 4 masses, 1,500 people every Sunday. You see what's happening?
Some of you may remember, in fact, the Church of Saint Louis in Port-Marly in Versailles, France. It's Palm Sunday, 1987. The Catholics have been locked out of their own cathedral for a long time. So Palm Sunday starts out with a procession through the streets like usual that ends up just outside the locked doors of their church. Traditional Latin Mass is celebrated on a makeshift altar. Probably have several hundred, maybe 1,000 people on hand. And then, as the people sang the Christus Vincit, some of the men, apparently taken by the Holy Spirit, approached the doors of the church that were not only locked, but also bricked closed from the inside. And the singing continues. Christus Vincit, Christus Regnat, Christus Imperat. They sing at the top of their lungs, Christ conquers, Christ reigns, Christ commands the persecuted Catholics in this case to break down the entrance to their own church. Today that church, remember this was 1987, today that church is in the hands of the Institute of Christ the King, traditional Latin Mass every day, every Sunday, every holy day, 1,500 Catholics, faithful Catholics, attending the traditional Mass in that church to this day. That's how it's done.
The future of France is the traditional Catholic thing, traditional Latin Mass. And of course, as we know in the States, it's happening here as well. And what's happening because of that in Versailles and all around the world, because of those Mass centers, you have schools. You have huge, burgeoning homeschool movements where children, hundreds of thousands of children are being indoctrinated in the old faith. That's the future. Hundreds of vocations, huge families, large families. You know, we talked last week about another sign of this. I want to leave this with you because we have no excuse, friends, for becoming all downtrodden. I hear so many people saying, well, I guess there's nothing left, but, just give up, just go into hiding. No, eventually, if we have to go underground, we certainly will, Your Excellencies. But that's not going to happen right now because good things are happening. Good bishops are standing with us. So we talked last week about the Chartres pilgrimage. This is the front line in this war for tradition and Catholic restoration. The Chartres pilgrimage over in France, 20,000 young people, representatives of the clans all around the world coming together for a high-profile traditional Latin Mass in Notre-Dame de Chartres. This is a major event. It represents a history-changing movement for the Church, for the whole world. And the spirit of that thing, friends, please do not let the Chartres pilgrimage belong only to those who are graced to be able to attend. That's not the point. This is for all of us. This is for you. It's for everyone in the whole world. We have this front line. We have these clans that will come together at this event to signal fealty to Our Lady, fealty to Jesus Christ our King, and to the traditions of the Catholic Church, right? And that spirit, friends, is contagious. I've seen it spread all over the world. It's spread to Orisville. It's spread to our country, to the U.S. It's spread up into Canada, Australia, South America, Europe, right in Spain. Right now, Notre Dame de Chrétienté has got a whole new branch, Our Lady of Christendom in Spain. We'll throw the website up there. I want you to pursue them. Contact them. If you speak Spanish, support them. Now this year, in Spain, our Spanish brothers, traditional Catholic brothers and sisters, they anticipate so many new recruits, so many pilgrims, that they're actually going to meet with our team in France to discuss the logistics of how to accommodate so many new pilgrims in Spain, friends. It's only 2 years old. It's just exploding over there. The Spanish pilgrimage of Our Lady of Covendonga. And it was born, by the way, in the middle of COVID, the darkest time any of us can remember. Our Spanish brothers and sisters said, we got to do something. We can't give up. We got to go start something big. And they did. In the middle of that insanity, and this is what it looked like. I'm just so excited about this, friends, because I keep seeing it happen. The Spirit is so contagious. It's taking the world by storm. It's a youth movement. They're all young, right? Last year, the same pilgrimage in Spain packed out the sanctuary basilica of Our Lady of Covendonga on the feast, no less, the feast of St. James, Santiago de Compostela, right? This is another pilgrimage to Covendonga. And again, this is what it looked like. What you're seeing here is the stuff of which counter-revolutions are made, friends. And so, yeah, there's persecution in the world today. Yeah, there is. It's coming not only from the state, but it's coming from the church. It's coming from the Vatican. And you know what it means? You know what the persecution means? It doesn't mean that we're losing this war. It means that we're winning. Because if we were losing, they would simply ignore us into oblivion like they used to try to do back in the day in the 1970s. Just ignore them, right? But they're not ignoring you. They're not ignoring this movement because it's of God. And it's getting stronger. No matter what they do, it's getting stronger every year. So yeah, maybe there aren't quite, at this point, there are not enough of us. There are not that many of us. But I can personally attest to the fact that there are so many more of us now than there used to be. Take hope and consolation from that. This is a growing youth movement throughout the whole world. And remember this, friends, we're not trying to look back. We're looking forward. That's what this movement has always been all about, the belief that the future belongs to this. Because tradition, as Gustav Mahler said, tradition is not the worship of ashes. Tradition is the preservation of fire. And this movement, friends, is the spark of that fire that will burn the new world order to the ground.